Welcome to the Explainer. So you know that exact feeling right before a network security exam? You're staring at your notes and you're thinking, yeah, I kind of get it, but deep down you just know you might mix up a threat in an attack, or maybe SSL and TLS? Well, today we are going to eliminate those I kind of get it moments completely. We're going to clear the fog with a definitive, myth-busting cheat sheet covering 20 absolutely essential network security terms. Okay, let's dive right into this. Here is our roadmap for this explainer. We're breaking this down to lower your cognitive load by conquering these terms category by category. So, 1. Security foundations. 2. Cracking cryptography concepts. 3. Securing the web. 4. Network protocols demystified. And 5. System defenses and firewalls.
All right, starting with Section 1, the security foundations, building the basics. Before we can protect the network, we really need to understand what we're actually protecting and the fundamental dangers out there.
Okay, I want to raise a massive red flag right out of the gate. Students mix these two up all the time. A threat is just a potential danger, right? It's the mere possibility of a hacker, a malware infection, or even just a power failure. But an attack? That is the actual action taken to exploit that threat, like when someone actually installs ransomware on a computer or actively hacks an email account. Basically, the threat is the possibility, the attack is the reality.
For our first cheat sheet, we just covered threat and attack. But what's really interesting here is active versus passive attacks. An active attack damages or changes your data, like deleting files. Now, a huge misconception is that all attacks break things. Not true at all. In reality, passive attacks just secretly monitor your traffic without changing a single thing. And honestly, they are incredibly hard to detect because your system seems totally fine while an attacker is just quietly reading your confidential emails. Moving to core security services, confidentiality is pretty simple. It's just keeping information secret. But I really want you to focus on integrity and non-repudiation. A massive myth is that integrity means keeping data a secret. That's a trap. Integrity actually simply means ensuring nobody altered or changed the data during transit. And non-repudiation, it's not about blocking hackers at all. It's about preventing the sender or the receiver from denying they sent or received a message, which, by the way, is usually implemented using digital signatures.
Okay, let's move to Section 2, cracking cryptography concepts, scrambling the data. We're shifting from the what of security to the actual mathematical how.
Watch out for this frequent trap: symmetric versus asymmetric key algorithms. Symmetric uses one shared secret key for both encryption and decryption. Now, it is super fast, which is great for bulk file encryption, but it's really hard to share that single key securely over a network. Asymmetric, on the other hand, uses complex math with two distinct keys, a public one and a private one. It's definitely slower, but securely exchanging keys becomes a million times easier because, well, you don't have to hide the public key. And this brilliantly illustrates that asymmetric concept. Think of the public key like an open padlock you just hand out to the world. Literally anyone can use your public key lock to secure and send you a message. But the private key, that stays with you. Only your specific private key can actually unlock that padlock. Which brings us to a question that trips up students on every single test, without fail. You might be thinking, wait, doesn't a digital signature encrypt my message so hackers can't read it? Let's completely bust that myth right now. A digital signature proves identity and prevents changes, meaning it handles authentication and integrity. But hackers can still totally read the plain text message. It does absolutely nothing for confidentiality unless you also use encryption alongside it. Also, check out the misconception around block versus stream ciphers here. A really common mistake is thinking all encryption handles data the exact same way. In reality, block ciphers chunk data into blocks, which is faster for software, while stream ciphers encrypt bit by bit, which is great for hardware but generally a bit slower. Right, moving on to Section 3, securing the web, safe browsing. This is all about how browsers and servers establish trust over the wild, chaotic internet. Another major red flag here, guys: SSL versus TLS. You hear people say SSL all the time, even today, but the massive misconception is that SSL is still the modern go-to standard. Actually, scratch that. SSL is a totally outdated protocol. It's less secure, and it has known vulnerabilities. TLS, or Transport Layer Security, is the modern, improved standard used almost everywhere today. So when you see HTTPS in your browser, that's TLS doing the heavy lifting to keep your data safe.
Walking through our web cheat sheet. During a TLS handshake, the browser and server verify each other and agree on encryption rules before they even start talking. Then we have the X509 certificate. Just think of this as a digital ID card for a website, proving its identity. A really common myth is that websites can just generate their own trust. Nope, they need this certificate issued by a trusted third party, like DigiCert. And finally, SMIME. This is the protocol that adds encryption and digital signatures to your emails, mainly because basic email extensions like MIME don't provide any built-in security services on their own.
Next up, Section 4, Network Protocols Demystified, the rules of the road. We're diving into the heavy-hitting protocols that secure traffic across massive networks and VPNs.
So, the absolutely crucial point here is understanding IPsec. It's a total powerhouse, but you must know the difference between its two main protocols. Authentication Header, or AH, acts like a tamper-proof seal. It proves the sender's identity and data integrity, but, and here's the trap, AH leaves the actual data completely readable. Encapsulating Security Payload, or ESP, is what actually hides and encrypts the data. If you need complete privacy, you definitely need ESP.
Let's take a quick second for Kerberos. It's a network authentication protocol using a key distribution center. Now, a massive misconception is that Kerberos securely encrypts and sends your password over the network. The reality? Kerberos never ever sends your password over the network, encrypted or not. It uses a clever system of digital tickets to grant access, so your actual password never travels across the wires at all.
To summarize these protocols, notice that IPsec tunnel mode encapsulates the entire IP packet, header and all, making it absolutely perfect for VPNs, unlike transport mode which just encrypts the data payload. And when it comes to SNMP, the huge myth here is that all SNMP versions are secure. Listen, older SNMP versions 1 and 2 actually sent community strings, which are basically passwords, in plain text. SNMP version 3 was a massive, necessary upgrade because it finally introduced user authentication and real data encryption.
Finally, we made it to Section 5, System Defenses and Firewalls, Building the Fort. How do we actually build the walls and set the alarms for our internal networks? There is a core difference to flag right here. A packet filtering firewall is fast, but it basically has amnesia. It is stateless. It only looks at individual packets and doesn't remember the connection at all, meaning it can easily be tricked by spoofed packets. A stateful inspection firewall, however, remembers the entire conversation. It actively tracks the TCP handshake and spots fakes easily because it actually knows the context of the communication.
A proxy firewall acts as the ultimate middleman. The client never talks directly to the server, and the proxy actually inspects the data content itself. But let's clarify the difference between a firewall and an IDS, or intrusion detection system. A big misconception is that an IDS blocks attacks. The correction? A firewall blocks bad traffic at the door, but an IDS just acts as an internal alarm system. A host-based IDS monitors a single individual computer, while the network-based IDS watches all the data packets flying across the entire network.
Let's wrap up our terms with the two ways an IDS actually detects danger. A signature-based IDS looks for known virus fingerprints, kind of like an old-school antivirus. If it hasn't seen the exact attack pattern before, it completely misses it. An anomaly-based IDS, on the other hand, learns what normal looks like and flags weird new behavior, like a user suddenly downloading 500 gigabytes of data at 3 a.m. The trade-off? Anomaly-based can catch brand new attacks for sure, but it might give you a bunch of false alarms.
Wow, we've covered our 20 essential terms, busted the myths, and hopefully cleared that fog. But I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. So, if you perfectly implement all 20 of these concepts, is your network 100% hack-proof? The reality is, security is an ongoing process, not a final destination. There's always going to be a new vulnerability, a new anomaly, or a new threat just over the horizon. Keep learning, keep adapting, and hey, good luck on your exam.